Hi, I'm Sean Kennedy with the National Restaurant Association. This is your 90-second update on everything that's happening here in Washington, D.C., how it affects the restaurant industry, and how you can stay engaged. I just got back from Florida, where we met with the Council of State Restaurant Associations, the SRAs that represent all 50 states, Puerto Rico, the District of Columbia. Almost everyone was there. It was in Florida, which is the good news. The bad news is we spent all of our time in a windowless conference room, but had some fantastic discussions on the challenges, the threats, but more importantly, the opportunities that this industry is going to be looking at the state, federal, and local level as we move into 2022. Everything from workforce development, immigration, preservation of the tip credit. There's going to be a lot going on. It's going to be a busy 2022. If you are not a member, if you're not tied in with your state restaurant association, please check out their website, get in touch with them, because there's going to be a lot on tap for all of us. I want to raise two items for you from a DC perspective. First is the employee retention tax credit. So many restaurants have turned in that paperwork for the ERTC. It could represent hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's been something that we've really worked hard on to make sure that restaurants get as much accessibility to it as possible. But the IRS is looking at a document backlog of 2 million right now, applications across the board that are pending, that they're not able to process because of COVID-related social distancing rules. We sent a letter to the IRS and Treasury last week, and we're going to follow up with a meeting later in December. We'd love to get your input and more importantly, your signature on a petition that we can bring to Treasury officials to say this is how important it is. We're asking for three things out of Treasury. One, of course, is the most obvious. Process these backlogged 20 and 2021 ERTC filings and get the funds out by the end of the year. Second, as you know, the fourth quarter ERTC is not going to be available for 2021. Let's extend when those payments are due. Right now, fourth quarter 2021 tax payments are going to be due in mid-January. We'd like that to be deferred until late July. And then lastly, any fines or penalties that are related to a tardy submission, if it is in January, they need to be waived or certainly be given a lot of forbearance, just given the challenges that we're working on right now. There's a petition on our advocacy website, restaurantsact.com. If you have a story about what ERTC means to you, and more importantly, what that backlog, how you haven't received your check, how that affects you, email that story to us at advocacy@restaurant.org. We're going to take the best stories, make sure they're properly anonymous, but really use them to add to the narrative when we're meeting with Treasury execs. So thank you in advance for anything you can do on that front. Second item, where are things on the Restaurant Revitalization Fund? As you know, the House has passed the Build Back Better Act. The legislation now moves to the Senate for consideration. While that bill is pending in the Senate, Congress isn't doing a lot as far as moving on other spending bills. We are not going to be in the Build Back Better Act, but we want to make sure that as soon as something is done, if Congress funds government operations for the rest of the year, if they pass a standalone bill that provides relief for other industries, we need to make sure we're at the top of that list. It is still a tough road that's ahead of us, but there is definitely a path that's in front. The best way to stay involved, obviously, is we need Republican support on revitalizing and replenishing the RRF. That legislation is pending. It doesn't have enough Republican co-sponsors on it. We need to plus up on that front. But this is a bipartisan problem that's going to need a bipartisan solution. If you haven't engaged on our website to add your voice to members of Congress and your state delegation, please take a look at that front as well. Congress is going to have a busy December in front of them. They are really operating with a cliff in front of them. They need to pass an extension of the debt limit to prevent the government from going into default. They need to pass a spending bill that extends the ability of the government to fund its own operations to avoid a government shutdown. And they need to pass this Build Back Better Act. That is a high bar that they've set for themselves. If they do that, it probably will not be until late December. There's a good chance they're going to pick up and go home for the holidays after that. We are going to make sure that we are not letting up on any of this. ERTC, RRF, the need for immigration reform. There are so many opportunities and so many challenges and so many ways in which the government can help the restaurant industry. We're going to be engaged on all of them. Appreciate your interest. More is to come. Please stay involved, and we'll follow up with you soon. Thanks.